Good evening, campers, dreamers, and babysitters. And yes, you're just getting me today. I decided to be the one to come and address this news. We got some good stuff. Don't worry, there's some fun stuff here. But yeah, word around the campfire for 2024. And if you had given me a bingo card and said, "Oh, what are we going to be talking about?" Within the first few days of the year, I would have probably said a Nosferatu trailer, maybe a Maxine release date. These are all things that we're excited for. But I definitely didn't have Mickey Mouse horror movie on my bingo card. But alas, the original incarnation of who we know to be Mickey Mouse, as he was called back then, Steamboat Willie, is in the public domain. Yes, he's out of the clutches of Disney and all those folks over there. So we can do whatever we want to do with it. And if you guys remember what happened last time this happened, we had Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which, for what it is, not a great film, but Luke and I sure did have some fun with it. I think that that's the thing about a lot of these concepts is that to have a real serious shot of this movie being anything more than just dumb popcorn fun, you really have to, put in the work. And I just don't think that the films that are going to be doing this sort of thing have the budget nor the time to really convince an audience that anything with a horror movie influencing an iconic child's character is going to be anything more than just, a goofy, fun popcorn flick. That being said, there are a lot of people online, especially a lot of YouTube review pundits who are not very happy by this. No, it's like they've been very vocal about their distaste for things like Blood and Honey and all that other stuff like the Grinch horror movie and everything. But I look at it like this. I think that, these are films that they're going to happen. They've been happening. I think that the thing that these guys got to realize too is that even before this, there were movies that would always hit direct to DVD about some old fairy tale or something in the public domain getting, horrified or turned into some kind of movie monster. Like, this is not an old concept. And this is just something that's starting to become a bit more popular now. Why is that? Well, I mean, simply, I just think it comes down to the state of where films are and just what things are going on with, like theatrical releases and streaming being such a big deal. I mean, we always go back to the streaming argument, but that's because that's the era that we live in. And I think that, films like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and The Mean One, and all these other ones, they get to go out and have these Fathom events, one night only showings because, we've got films like Indiana Jones. Like, that's an iconic action star. Like, his films were massive and they're underperforming at the box office because studios want to put, $300 million into these projects and they're not making that kind of money back. And, the thing about something like a, Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse horror film is, yeah, you can throw, $10 and a stick of gum at it and people are going to be interested on the concept itself. Now, do I think that this is going to be a thing for a long time? No. I think that this is going to quickly run its course. I like the guys who did, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. We interviewed them. They were very nice to us, very cool dudes. But their cinematic universe, although I'll be there to watch it and, I'll be there to call it out for what it is, I just don't know if that's going to run its course after a few years when people are just going to be really sick of it. I kind of see that being the trend, especially when we're getting films like Mickey's Mousetrap. So yes, besides a video game adaptation using Steamboat Willie, which actually looks pretty fun, the big news yesterday centered around this film, Mickey's Mousetrap, which is exactly what it seems like when you see that image of that mouse there. It is, from what I gather from this trailer, it is a guy dressed up as Mickey Mouse going around hacking people up in an old arcade. And, for what this concept is, I'm just kind of like, nah, that's goofy. I don't like that. That just, it's the easiest kind of like route you could go with this. I like if they would have taken this and made the Mickey more of a monster, made him more of, this like mythical entity that's kind of living in this, kind of like how they do with Five Nights at Freddy's. But I don't know, just making him a slasher killer like this, it just feels really, really basic. And I don't know if that's really gonna, translate well for a lot of audiences. But that brings me to something that I am actually looking forward to a little bit. And I know there's going to be people that say there's a bit of a bias here because, obviously the director is somebody that we've talked to a couple of times on the show. He is the one who did the mean one, Stephen Lamort. So it's something where it's like, yeah, we get to speak with him, we get to talk with him, and we've got a bit of a friendship through the show with him. And I will be the first to admit that if this was what it was, I probably wouldn't have paid it too much of a mind. But the fact that I was able to go into this article about Steamboat Willie, which is the second of the Mickey Mouse horror films that's coming out, and I saw that it was Sleight of Hand Productions and that Stephen Lamort was attached to direct, I did think, okay, this could be a good bit of fun. Because again, they actually took the idea of the mean one, which was a parody of the Grinch, and they really leaned into the parody side of it, as opposed to this one where he's in the public domain now, so they don't have to necessarily lean too much into the parody. There will be that element there, but for the most part, it seems like they could really just lean into the idea of, this monster, this horrible creature coming in and attacking ferry boat passengers. Yes, really leaning into the steamboat aspect of this. And, Steven had teased this to us, just kind of passively talking about his next film involving a ferry and a boat and everything. Not in a million years could I have thought that this was going to be a Mickey Mouse horror film, but I am here for it. I think that if there's anybody who's going to do the creature feature element of this justice, I think that he's got a very good shot of making this work. And, again, I say that in the most rudimentary sense of it is going to be a fun time to sit down, eat some popcorn, have a laugh, and watch the guts and the blood spill. My biggest thing that I could throw as just kind of my hopes for Steamboat Willie is going to be that, like, lean a little harder into the practical effects. Really, when it comes down to the mean one, I was very disappointed by the fact that they used a lot of digital blood. I just felt like, it was one of those things where I'm like, you really want to lean into the practical aspect of this. You have this wonderful prosthetic with David Howard Thornton under it. And, you have all of this CG blood. I really hope that they lean more into the practical stuff. And, that is, again, something that when we last spoke with Steven, he did say that he wants to push a little bit more into the practical stuff. So I am excited for this. I hope that this has a little bit more money behind it. But I think that, coming off of the mean one, that's the beauty of this, is that he's been able to kind of build some steam, build some momentum. And if this one comes out and it's a lot of fun and it's goofy as hell, and you can really sit down and actually enjoy your time with it, I really think that it's only going to benefit to keep pushing his career forward. Again, you could say that I'm biased for it, but I am actually pretty much looking forward to this one of all of the Mickey Mouse horror movies that have been announced thus far. But whichever aisle that you sit on this, whether you're for this or against it, I think the big thing that we need to keep in mind here is that, yes, these are films that, get a lot of clicks on the internet. They get a lot of buzz on Twitter, and people will go out and support them for their limited theatrical runs. But as of right now, no massive studio, no giant, conglomerate has really paid these films any bit of a mind. They're not sitting here saying, oh, we need to put our own, Winnie the Pooh horror movie in theaters. We need our own Mickey Mouse horror movie. No, this is a very small subsection of this horror community that is getting to play with some IP that, because of, how, copyright law and everything works, we can have some fun with. And I really think that, when speaking with these filmmakers, that is first and foremost their intent with it. They want to make a film that's goofy, that's fun, and that's going to really just give people something to sit down and laugh at and have a good time. I don't think that it's seriously going to affect how, the trajectory of this horror genre has had over the last few years. I mean, if we still have things like Nosferatu getting greenlit and Guillermo's making a Frankenstein film and all these other great horror films in these studios that are saying they're going to push towards more original horror, I think that we can let some of these slide. And like I said, this has a shelf date. This is something where I think that after a few more adaptations, after some more of these public domain figures come into the horror realm, you're going to see this start to die down. These are going to kind of just start to dissipate and disappear unless they really surprise us and they make out some really excellent films. But like I said, this is for a niche audience, and it's kind of like you either got to be in with it or you're out with it. And I respect both sides. I'm somebody who's always going to be able to give it a shot, but I'll be the first one to say if, hey, this movie sucks. And that's just where I sit with it. I like horror. I like horror films. I like having the experience of going to Fathom events. They're a good time, especially if you get some friends together. But at the end of the day, I'm also one of those people that's going to say, hey, this is fun, but it's not doing anything constructive. So yes, guys, that's everything that I have to say about the Mickey Mouse horror films at this moment in time. If I can get my hands on Mickey's Mousetrap ahead of its release, we'll obviously get you a review. I will definitely do my best to get us a review for Steamboat Willie as that one gets closer. And yeah, I guess we'll just have to keep our eyes out and see what happens with this Mickey Mouse character. I mean, what are they going to do with Steamboat Willie? Or is this really going to just be something where the first half of 2024 is just running and gunning projects? The thing I would be very worried about is if you're trying to hop on this right now and you don't have anything ready to go, because like I said, this is going to burn out, and this is going to burn out fast. So we'll see what happens. But as I was recording this, Bloody Disgusting did report that there is a Steamboat Willie horror short film. Yes, we have a short film already out and about. It's called The Vanishing of the SS Willie. It's about 9 minutes, and you can watch it right now. I will probably check it out right before I edit this, but yeah, I think this is going to be the trend, at least for the week, and maybe a few months after. But we will just have to wait and see what really comes of the Steamboat Willie films. Alrighty, but other than that, guys, got a lot of great stuff on the channel. We just put up our top 10 of 2023, and yeah, that was a good bit of fun. It's a long video, more of a podcast episode, but Luke and I really had a good time just reminiscing about what a wonderful year in horror we had. And yeah, we got a lot of great stuff on the horizon. So keep it right here. Stay excited. And yeah, I guess until next time, I'm Dylan Newell. And remember, stay scared.